Hi, my name's Phi Thuy Nguyen, founder of Agame Yoga and Meditation Center, coming to you with another segment of Do It Different. From parenting to business, from the bedroom to the boardroom, how you can do your moments differently so that you can experience both success and substance in your life for your different kind of happy. I feel such a reverence and a humbleness in thinking about our segment today and the person I am about to interview and share with you. I have watched her over this last year making small as well as substantial changes in her life, doing many details of her life differently for herself as a woman, for herself as a mother, handling the experience of her ex-husband differently on so many levels. And on the outside, it may look like nothing has changed, but then everything has changed. And so I just feel so honored and humbled to watch her journey, and so blessed to be in the space of witnessing her transformation over the last year, starting with her workshop with me about a year ago this time, the Do It Different Holiday workshop, which in a different email you will get more information on and giving you the tools in terms of how to do the holiday differently and to carry that on into 2016 for you. So without further ado, Michelle Lanius Lee.
Thank you for having me.
So Michelle, I have just loved watching you this year and the transformations that I have witnessed in your life. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with everyone today. So tell people a little bit about yourself and what has happened in your journey.
All right. Well, I think I'll start with last year at this time, December 2014. Well, actually, I'm going to go back a little further.
Okay. Yeah.
So after my separation and divorce, I guess 2011, holidays were hard because, things were different. I have two sons, and it was hard to continue traditions because things had changed so much. And so I remember December 2013, actually, I decided that I just didn't want to be around anyone, and I flew to visit my brother across the country in the coldest city in America.
Duluth, Minnesota,
yes,
was
Duluth.
it?
It was Duluth. And I brought my sons with me, but I didn't want to have to plan with family. I didn't want to have to think about what tradition I wasn't carrying on or what I should be starting. So, to that extreme was, let me get away. So when I came to your workshop last December, I was looking for a solution. I didn't want to avoid it anymore. I wanted to face, and it's sad to say I wanted to face the holidays, but sometimes that's how you feel. I have to face them. And I remember in your workshop, we journaled about, our past experiences and what we would like to experience. And then you led us through how to create an action plan. And, what I wanted to experience is something memorable, something that we could all, share memories later, and not necessarily, buy plane tickets and fly away, but just something that wouldn't cost any money, something different. So as a result, my oldest son, he dug a little hole for a fire pit. We made a little bonfire. We ended up bringing the TV outside and the sleeping bags, and we watched Bill Murray's A Christmas Carol, which that was something that I used to do with my father. We would watch that. It was kind of a tradition at Thanksgiving time, leading into the Christmas holidays. And so it was something small, but big, because it did create a memory. I mean, it was exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah.
It was simple.
And it included you and your 2 sons.
Yes.
They were involved.
Yes, yes.
And it didn't cost any money.
It didn't cost anything.
Completely
And it wasn't
different.
it wasn't difficult. It wasn't
Yeah.
hard. It wasn't facing anything. And to bring it to 2015 now, this just came about that I'm moving into a new house, but I immediately made plans to host Christmas with my family. And so I've gone from avoidance to making small changes, and now, I don't know, I guess I've done a 360 almost.
Well, we want 180, because if we do 360, we end up where we were.
Yeah.
Which we don't want to be.
Unless I'm going to the Bahamas or something. Yeah, so it's been, as I reflect back over the past year, a lot of things led me to this point. A lot of small details, as you mentioned earlier.
So one of the neat things about Michelle is she's a high school teacher, and sometimes teachers are not the best of students. But Michelle is also a really good student. She learns something and she puts it into practice. Leaving that workshop, you did something differently with your sons, and then you also started making plans last Christmas to spend time with your mother and your family.
Yes.
Tell us about that. How did that go?
It went well. That was a long time ago. That part's not so. We did. They came over that day, and it was small. It wasn't. You have these expectations. You have these expectations of what Christmas should be like, and when you have people over, you want them to have a good time, and you want to have everything right. And it was just what it was. It was a fire pit outside, and it was it was a small gathering, but that's all we needed. And it was enough. It was more than enough. And which is leading us to have something bigger this year, I think.
Yeah. And that's a really important point Michelle makes, that, when we show up to doing the things that are meaningful to us, the other part of it is to surrender the outcome, right? And so when things happen, we get feedback for changes that we want to engage in for the next one, right? And so parts of it were really nice, parts of it didn't meet expectation, and then you get that feedback as an opportunity to do things differently again. So it's not about perfection. It's about standing up and saying, I choose to do this, and we'll see.
Surrender and see what happens. And what I've learned over the past year is when you step back and surrender, that's things happen. And things are happening. And if you're looking for something to happen, then you're going to miss what actually happened.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean,
we're not in the flow.
Yeah, you're not in the flow, and you're not in the moment. Your mind's too busy thinking about what should happen, what you expect, and that is the biggest. That's so huge. That's so huge, and I use that now daily.
What do you use daily?
Accepting what is, and surrendering to what will come. So I mean, I made plans to, not only did I make plans to move into a new house by Christmas, which I hadn't started yet. I'll have a couple of weeks to move in, but right after Christmas, I'm going on my first meditation retreat for 5 days, and I'm going to end the year at Magnolia Grove Monastery and ring in the new year there, and I'm very excited, and I have no idea what to expect.
That's part of the adventure.
It's definitely.
I think we spend so much time trying to plan and control everything that, like you said, we lose the gift of the present moment and what shows up. And so to be able to let go has yielded so much for you. the house that she mentions that she's getting to move into is so much bigger and nicer than where she's living now, right? Where you're living now.
It is.
And by the grace of all the energies that are out there, whatever you want to call it, she's paying the same amount of rent. Michelle, basically, right? You're paying the same amount of rent.
And it wasn't anything I looked for.
Right.
It was literally someone called me and offered it to me.
That's amazing. And you have a chance to possibly own it with time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge.
It's
and this is a single mother of 2 boys teaching public school. So we really don't know what is in store for us when we surrender. Mm-hmm. So logically, it doesn't make sense that I can have a bigger house at the same rent and maybe even own a big, beautiful house.
No, it's not logical.
Right.
It's not at all. It's not anything that that I could dream of. I mean, it's definitely, that sounds fantasy.
It is magic. I love it because in the realm of magic, anything's possible.
Yes.
And it requires us stepping back and being in the flow instead of trying to control and manipulate everything.
And what I've learned is that if it doesn't happen, it's okay.
It's not meant to be. Something better is on its way.
Oh, Lord. But yeah, logically, this shouldn't happen. So
let's embrace that it's happening.
Yes. Yeah. Surrender.
That's so great. What are some other things you've done differently this past year, and what outcomes have that resulted for you?
So, I've really built up my meditation practice, which has really given me time to be in the moment, and by doing that, I have placed more value on who I am, what I'm doing, on my children. I mentioned in 2013, I flew away, trying to avoid a holiday. I hope my brother doesn't hear this. But
no, he was your shelter at that time, right?
Right.
He was the life.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call those things you throw in the water?
You throw in the water.
You know, when someone's drowned, the life jacket.
Oh, yeah.
So he was your life support at that time.
Yes.
And so we can be grateful to him for that. Because without that, you wouldn't be where you are today.
Right.
And so that's the thing. We need to embrace every aspect of our journey, every aspect of ourselves. Just because it happened doesn't mean it's bad. It's just something that happened to give you the insight, like, oh, I don't want to do this again. Yeah. And then so you did something different instead.
Right. So one thing, another thing I've been avoiding was a property settlement. I didn't want to deal with it. And finally, I said, well, you deserve this. And it's yours. Yeah. So why just, and it's not just yours, it's your children's also. So stepping up and facing things that I didn't really want to face. Yeah. But it took me a few years to realize that I needed to step up and do that. And little things like with the boys, instead of saying, okay, these are the chores you need to do, make a list of chores and, pick which day you want to, what chore do you want to do on Monday? Sign up for a chore on Monday, sign up for a different chore on Tuesday, a different one on Wednesday. And that way they know they got to have choice in the chores that they were going to do. So, little things like that.
That's really beautiful, Michelle, because as you learn to empower yourself with the decisions that you felt in control of in your life, whether it be standing up to taking care of a property settlement, whether it be to do your holidays differently, not because someone needs to define it for you, but making that choice, you're now empowering your sons to make their choices. And it's like I said before, I have such reverence because it shows up in the simplest of things. A list of chores. So often many of us think that it needs to be the big thing, or when I have all the money and I don't have to worry about money anymore. then I'll go and make that big change that I've been wanting in my life. And you're a testimony that you just start where you are,
Yeah.
and miracles happen.
And that's all you can do. And they do happen.
Yeah, I love it. So, how did your sons respond to this list of chores that they get to choose when they wanted to do it?
Well, it was. I almost felt like I was being really sneaky, even though I was very upfront, because they accepted it differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like, oh, we can choose what we can do. Oh, I want to do that one Tuesday. No, I'm going to do this one Thursday.
Oh, they were excited.
Well, I mean, they were almost competing because I didn't have. They couldn't do the same chore, you know.
Yeah.
Within a few days of each other. So, and some of them would be more involved than others. Some would only take 10 minutes, where some were a little more involved, 20 minutes or so. But I mean, they instead of saying I want you to do this, this, and this, just saying one thing made them happy, and it was like, did I just fool them that they were working? But no, I didn't. I was up front, so.
I think one of the things that happen when we do things differently is because it's different, there is a sense that maybe this isn't right.
Yeah.
Right. The feeling of, oh, I'm being sneaky.
Yeah.
No, I'm just being different.
Yeah.
And
right?
because I'm not used to it, it feels weird. It feels awkward. It feels sneaky. When, like you said, you were very upfront. Here are the list of chores, and you get to choose what you want to do on which day. But because it was different, it felt weird. And that's a really good point for people to realize that those awkward feelings may come up. Don't listen to those feelings. Just go ahead and do the different consciously anyway, and you have a different outcome. I mean, they were excited. They were competing. And I feel like what happened with them is they have a sense of ownership. And so they were excited. It's not that you manipulated them. They're like, oh, I get to step up to the plate and choose. And so it elicited a different response from your sons because you did it differently. That is so awesome.
Yeah. And there have been times where I didn't make a chart, and I would find them doing things kind of unconsciously that I didn't have to ask them to do.
So you planted the seed, and they continued
on? I think so.
on?
It's not
like
full blown, but yeah. I would find them putting their dishes in the dishwasher right away, where that didn't happen before. As a matter of fact, it would stay in their room before. It wouldn't even make it to the kitchen. So it definitely made, I think it, like you said, planted the seed. So
and
you have to keep watering
changing their habit. Right, absolutely. We need to keep watering them. And what you demonstrate is changing their habit wasn't that hard, or it didn't take that long. Like we would think in our mind. Sometimes I get tired just thinking of what could happen and the possibilities and what I have to do and this, that it wears me out before I even do it. And yet just by doing it and allowing the outcome to be, they taught themselves very quickly on how to handle the dishes.
Right.
Because they felt empowered. That is awesome. And that's why it's in the little things that mean so much to me.
Yes.
Because
it was so easy. It wasn't. Didn't cost anything. It didn't take a lot of effort.
Just a different way. Just a different, and being willing to do a different way. Because a lot of us listen to good advice, good techniques, good methods, and it makes sense at the level of the head. And then we don't do anything about it. Change happens in the action, right? And the mind maybe over time will follow. Right. Yeah. That's so awesome, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to share?
I guess that, I've also, in my quiet mind and space, I've realized some things like I'm really impatient. And but I have the tools to deal with that, which is, it's like, okay, I'm impatient. All right, taking note of that, and let's move on.
Love it.
And it's not a big thing. It's like the things that were a big thing are no longer big things. They're just, oh, okay, you're impatient. We need to work on that.
And then shifting.
And shifting. Yes.
You know, we have a T-shirt here that says "Shift happens," and that's the thing. It's not expecting that we're perfect.
No.
And that we're always going to be kind and compassionate and focused and consistent. It's that, oh, I noticed this doesn't work. Now I can shift.
Right. There's a lot of things I want to work on for 2016, and I just feel empowered to do it and not feel like avoiding. Like avoidance is, I see how many times I've done it, and like, wow, don't need to do that. There's no, and if I want to push something to the side, it's like, okay, I'll push that to the side and I'll come and get that later, because
it's conscious.
It's conscious.
Yeah.
It's not me realizing a year later how many things I avoided. It's like, okay, I don't have time for this right now because I have all these things. So I'm not overwhelmed. So let me put this over to the side and I will deal with this and handle this.
That's a beautiful
when I'm ready.
Yeah, that's life mastery.
Yes.
Just because we can doesn't mean we want to do it all at one time. And so that points out to how you've taken care of yourself differently. It's choosing to say, oh, today I only want to do this much, instead of I have to do it all.
Yes.
Which is where
taking care of yourself that way.
Yeah.
And it just makes life so much more enjoyable.
Ah!
It really does.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like taking pressure off. And so I can't wait to do another video in December 2016.
Yay! That's a great idea. And you know, this is coming at such a good time with the holiday season coming up, because there are people out there who are maybe having to look at their holidays differently because of changes, whether it be due to death or due to divorce and separation, and to really give them the tools to do it different. And even if your external environment may not have changed, maybe you are in a new place internally and you're ready to do something different. And the reason why I think that, you know, doing different is so important is, if I don't like the destination I've gotten to, and if I keep doing the same way, I'm going to continue to get that same destination.
Right.
And the place of power, like you said, is to do it different for different outcomes. And from that, we feel more and more empowered.
It's so key.
To think differently.
It's so key. Because I find myself saying that. It's like, I don't like this. Okay, well, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like, that's the next question.
Right.
And then you start thinking how you're going to change it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm working on that with what I'm teaching right now. I know I'm not going to do this next year. I'm not going to teach this particular subject. I know I'm not. I don't know how I'm going to get there exactly at this point, but I know that's something I'm going to work on. So anything that comes up, small, big, it's like, if you don't like it, you have the power to change it. And it's taking the steps.
And feeling empowered to take just
and
the
to
next
do
step.
it, because I think for a long time I knew what I wanted to change, but just feeling like, oh, I can't do that. I can't own a house. I can't afford to do this, you know, but actually you can. It can happen.
For me, the space of can and can't is very disempowering. The space of how opens it up to amazing possibilities. Even if I say no, it's from a place of choice. When I say can't, it's from a place of no power. It's like I'm stuck. I can't do it. I can choose to say no to something, but it's a choice I have, right? I don't want to do that. But when I say I can't, I have no power.
It's a negative word.
Yeah, so I like to live in the space of how. So I want to change my plan for teaching the children. How am I going to do it to achieve all that one? And that's where the different resources come in to get that done. I love it. Thank you. So if people wanted to, you're welcome. If people wanted to sit down for a cup of tea, because I know you have so much more to share than what we've been able to cover here, Would they be able to contact you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My email
Mhm.
is laniuslee@gmail.com. Lanius, that's my middle name. Lee, Lee.
At gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I'd love to.
And Michelle just finished teacher training here at the studio. And starting in 2016, she will be teaching the Tuesday, Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Yin Yang class. So you can get more of Michelle come 2016 and walk the journey with her to do it differently. Thank you so much for tuning in. And she and I would love to hear from you. So if you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, please leave it in the comment box below. And we'd be excited to answer your questions and comments. Thank you so much. Namaste.